Another week, another attempt by the Republicans to shut down Obamacare. Now this time, they're not trying to repeal the law. They're not even trying to defund the law technically. What they're doing is targeting risk corridors. Now that's a term that many people are not going to be familiar with, so let's explain to you what it is. Basically, these risk corridors are built into the Affordable Care Act, and they're meant to stabilize costs by creating a pot of money that takes in funds from insurers who enroll healthier customers and uses it to pay out insurers who enroll sick customers. And so basically that's a complicated way of saying that across the entire system, multiple insurance companies, we're going to do what is normally done inside of every insurance company, where you use the bonus money you get from people who don't need that money, that pay in and then don't have healthcare costs, to pay for those who pay in and then do need healthcare costs. So rather than limiting that to one particular insurance company, in Obamacare you have these risk corridors that do it across the entire marketplace. And the Republicans are attempting to take that out. They're calling it the Obamacare bailout. And they know that if they do shut that down, then in the long run, it's possible that premiums will go up, and they perhaps will go up enough that the entire system will crash, or that the American people will demand some kind of major change.
So the beauty of something like this, John, is that once the notion of what's happening in here gets out to the mainstream media, they're going to expose this, and then it'll be shot down right away.
Yeah, that's funny. The mainstream media is talking about it, but not in that way. They seem to like it for the most part.
Oh, really?
In fact, one writer for Bloomberg View, this is Ramesh Punoru of the National Review, by the way, just so you get an idea of what sort of guy this is. He says, without them, the risk corridors, insurance companies would have to raise premiums and thus make their plans even more unattractive than they already are, or just withdraw from the exchanges. Obamacare would, in other words, become even less likely to succeed than it already is. And so they're being very clear when they're pushing for this, that the goal is to shut down the entire system.
So it's weird that they would just do, it's like, hey, we're doing something nefarious and underhanded, and here it is, we're going to tell you.
Yeah.
Well, what is that about? Why would they do that?
Well, look, I mean, it just goes to show you that they are trying to sabotage our government.
Yes.
They want government to fail. They want government to not work, and then they can turn around and say, see, government didn't work, let's vote them out. And you know, they do this at the expense of what's good for America and what's good for the American people. Mm-hmm. And to me, they're the ones who scream the loudest about being patriots and all of that, right?
Right.
And they're the ones who are effectively trying to sabotage the system. Now, this risk corridor thing, this is the most obvious thing that there is. I mean, the whole point of insurance is to spread the risk, because you don't know who is going to be expensive and who's going to be cheap. So maybe with all three of us, we have car insurance. But maybe I get into an accident more often. You guys never get into an accident, and so part of what you're paying pays for my claims. That's the way insurance works. Yeah. And within the insurance industry, there's also what's called reinsurance. So where insurance companies themselves they insure all of their liabilities with other insurance companies. So they spread the risk even further. This risk corridor is exactly what that is. Yeah. It builds it's like having a shock system in place so that things don't just fall apart when one area goes bad. That's the way. That's good planning, and that's good engineering to create something that would, you know, hopefully help the American people. And these assholes want to just ruin it and sabotage everything just for the sake of sabotaging Obama's legislative centerpiece. Yeah. Because I don't remember any of these guys doing this in Massachusetts when Mitt Romney passed. Effectively the same thing, right?
Right. And I don't hear their alternate plan either. That's the whole thing. Still, no other plan, nothing but, hey, you know how
they're going to get that printer working eventually, and then they'll have it for us.
Then they'll have the plan for them. Well, again,
ran out of toner, it's expensive.
I have to make the point that the reason why we have to have these risk corridors and have all these pieces of the puzzle that somehow come together to form a healthcare system is because of the fucking people who are trying to sabotage it right now, because we all want single payer. We all know that's the risk pool starts at the Atlantic and it ends at Hawaii. That's where the risk pool is, right? And so we all get coverage, and we all know that that's the way. But the reason why we have to do these risk corridors is because of those motherfuckers won't let us do that, and then they shit all over it. So I know I've made that point before, but I think it's worth making all the time, that the whole reason we have to go through all these stupid machinations of trying to deliver health care to people is because of those people who are even opposing this won't let us have the real solution, which is Medicare for all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up the reinsurance thing, because I think insurance companies do need that. I mean, you don't know if maybe one day a company is going to spill a couple hundred metric tons of fracking chemicals in your water, and then people are going to need insurance. You don't know if we're going to do nothing to combat global warming, and then a hurricane is going to wipe out the entire eastern seaboard. Like, you got to be able to plan for those things.
Yeah.
And also, the problem that I have with it is not fundamentally that they're trying to shut down the law. We expect that of them. They've been doing it since it passed. It's the particular way that they're going to do it. Because if they get rid of the risk corridors and then the premiums start to go up, Obamacare it's not gone the next day. It's months or possibly years of premiums becoming increasingly hard to pay because of the Republicans. And think about the effect on the average American family as they're artificially rising premiums cause them to not be able to afford other things they need, possibly lose insurance altogether. They're willing to put millions of American families on the chopping block just to have a chance of killing Obamacare a little bit earlier.
So this is, again, where
it's the depth of immorality.
This is an example of the necessity for good politicking, you know, and this is what the Democrats fail at: messaging, politicking, framing, and this is what the Republicans excel at. So even when they're selling a box of shit, but they put the nice dressing around it, whereas the Democrats have a nice cake for you, but it's in a shit box. You know, it's so weird.
Where did they even get the shit box? I don't even know.
They make them at Democratic headquarters.
Yeah.
Howard Dean has a company.
Look, the issue of healthcare and healthcare insurance, it's not just some policy argument, the left versus right. It has real life ramifications. Estimates are that roughly 40,000 people die every year in America because they don't have healthcare or healthcare insurance. It's the #1 cause of bankruptcies. I mean, it is deeply
immoral. See more of them if they do
deeply immoral to deprive people of healthcare. And I don't think Obamacare is even remotely close to being the solution to our healthcare problems. However, I think it's a good effort. It's a step in the right direction, perhaps. And for these guys to sabotage that for political gain, I think is the height of hypocrisy. And it's the same guys who are claiming to be patriots and wanting to send people to war to fight against terrorists who might kill us like they did on 9/11. 9/11 killed 3,000 people. 40,000 people die every year from lack of insurance.